Massive update on the suspects, the situation, the lawsuit, and my SVJ that was vandalized about a month ago with a sledgehammer. If you don't remember, there are links in the description. Go and catch up on the story because it is a wild one. I did keep the windshield from the SVJ, so just to refresh your memory, it was completely destroyed by said sledgehammer. Due to that situation, we went ahead and hired some attorneys. So let me reintroduce you guys to Ronnie and Ali from Soleil Law Group. And they are here to give you now the full details on what's going on with said lawsuit, be able to tie everything together so you guys fully understand what's going on, why it's going on, and what is going to happen next. Because there were some very interesting details in our last update that we couldn't share, but now can be released. Gentlemen, welcome back to the DDHQ. I have my business partner Dave in the, well, you can only see his head in his pants because he's got camouflage on. Guys, what is the update that's going on with the lawsuit after the vandalism, the assault, and all of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, big update. I know last time we were here, we mentioned that we had some issues trying to attempt service on Sledgehammer, the person who vandalized this beautiful Lamborghini. But now everybody in the lawsuit has officially been served. I explained why we filed a lawsuit against these guys and how much money and compensation Damon could potentially be looking at. Stick around, we'll explain in a little bit. So we'll go into a little bit about how we had trouble with service of Sledgehammer. We got his physical address through the traffic collision report, through the police report. We attempted service at that address, and the people who answered the door initially said, we've never heard of this person, that person doesn't live here.
They actually claimed that they were a whole different family. Not only did they say that this person doesn't live there, they said, oh no, our last name is completely different from this person's last name.
Yeah, so what? So once
It's not true.
Yeah, not true at all. So we went back to the drawing board, did a little bit more research and found an alternative address, went to that address, and when the people answered the door, it was clearly not Sledgehammer's home. You can immediately tell they completely freaked out. Our team came back to us and said, this is what happened. So we went back to the original address. And when we went back there, Sledgehammer was the one who answered the door and accepted personal service.
Did he have a sledgehammer?
Had the Sledgehammer, was looking for the Lamborghini.
He was asking for the Lambo. He was ready.
He was already opened the door.
You want seconds? He was ready to go.
You want
So we got him served at his address. He definitely lied. Whoever answered that door the first time lied about their address.
Can they get in trouble for that, by the way?
Not necessarily, because it's been done. We served him personally, so it's all good to go. Yeah.
I'd like to quickly point out that we also know that they're liars because they lied immediately at the scene about the incident in general.
The window was broken. The window was broken.
And they all lied together. So what's that? That's like corroborating a story.
Yeah, essentially, it almost seemed like they teamed up together before the police got there because all their stories matched up, but they're all lies because we have everything documented. It's really, really interesting to see something like that. And Damon did a great job making sure that everything was on camera.
I noticed a few comments last video, people asking, why is it that Beanie is being sued? Why is it the green shirt's being sued? Why are the companies being sued and not just the Sledgehammer? So can you explain how it's all actually connected into one lawsuit?
Correct. So this is one lawsuit. They're not all being sued separately. So there are 4 defendants in this case. Like we mentioned, we have Green Shirt's company, Beanie, and also obviously Sledgehammer. So we'll walk you through full circle how they're all connected and why this is all being brought into one lawsuit as a result of the damage to the windshield. So we have Green Shirt first. That is the person who initially stopped Damon. He actually owns the construction company in which Sledgehammer is an employee of. So Green Shirt owns that company. Sledgehammer is an employee of that company, and they're actually working on the house that Beanie owns. So as you can see, that's how it comes full circle, and that's how they're all related.
Okay, Beanie hires construction company, Green Shirt owns, that employs Sledgehammer.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. And then that's why you can see in the video that they all come out together and start ganging up on Damon.
A piece of person who has a small who needs this car to feel good about himself.
Small, hold on, small, you motherfucker. I'm a small motherfucker. There's the criminal layer where you could potentially face criminal charges or even go to jail, and that's handled by the state. The district attorney will handle that. Then you have the civil layer where you have to handle on your own or hire lawyers to handle on your behalf, and that's what we're doing here. And that part of the justice system is designed to put you in a position as if the incident never occurred. So when I say as if the incident never happened, I mean to make you whole again, compensate you for whatever outcome resulted from the incident. So whether that be money compensation or anything else, that's what it's designed for.
This is justice. These guys smashed up a Lamborghini and thought it was okay. I don't want them thinking that you can just do this whenever you feel like it. We're in the same neighborhood. I don't know if it's gonna happen again. We got lucky that time. They hit a windshield. What was an A-pillar? You just can't do that. You don't like the car, you're mad about something. You just can't go and smash the car and think nothing's gonna happen. You're all in it together, you all acted together, and now justice will be served together.
In addition to accountability, we want to remember that this car is a company car. It is a branded DDE car. It is actually a moving billboard. So we want to protect the brand as well and don't want people to think that, they can come and mess with the company. There's going to be no repercussions. So it's about accountability for the people and also protecting the brand.
Yeah. Now let's get into the legal mumbo jumbo. Explain the lawsuit.
Okay.
Sue me.
Here we go. All right. So we have 4 causes of action we are suing these defendants for. A cause of action is just a fancy word for saying what legal theory are you suing on. So we're suing on 4 separate legal theories.
In the first video, we couldn't explain what they were. Now, since they've been served, we can tell you guys right now all those 4 actions or lawsuits.
So let's get the simple one out the way. The simple one is called trespass to chattel. Chattel just means your personal property.
Chattel?
Chattel.
It's outdated. I don't know why
Chattel?
it's not changed.
Yeah.
I got a king's cost. Yeah, get it? Get off my chattel, you sausage bullets! They'll be stripping them washers.
So yeah, chattel is just a fancy word for personal property. Obviously, this is DDE's personal property that was vandalized, so we had to include that action in the lawsuit.
And so we also want to clarify as to who's being sued for what. So when it comes to this trespass to chattel legal theory, we are suing obviously Sledgehammer, who had hit the car, and then who else are we also getting?
We're also coming after the construction company. So normally employers, they're liable for negligent actions of their employees when it's within their scope of employment. We know Sledgehammer was within the scope of employment because he was working at the construction site. Not only was he at the construction site, he used one of the construction tools to vandalize the Lamborghini. So we know he was working there. And number 2, although it wasn't a negligent action because it's not negligent to intentionally hit somebody's Lamborghini, it's intentional. So normally employers are not liable for intentional actions. However, if you listen and watch closely in the video, you can hear Green Shirt essentially authorize and ratify Sledgehammer to do something to this Lamborghini. You can hear him specifically say, get in the car and drive it away.
Twice. he
Twice.
said that.
Derek, jump in his car and drive it away.
There you go.
Drive it away.
Not only that, once he vandalized the Lamborghini, Green Shirt came over, looked it over, and didn't try to tell Sledgehammer, you shouldn't have done that, or these are wrongful actions. He essentially said, no, that wasn't there. That was already there when you pulled up here.
No, you did that on video. I was there when you pulled up. Sorry. I was there.
And
So-
Green Shirt in the moment's authorized. He's the company. So the company is saying to an employee, go do something to that car.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's why we're getting the company and not actually Green Shirt for this cause of action.
That was dumb.
All right, next cause of action is assault. And let me explain the difference between assault and a battery because there's a common misunderstanding. A battery involves actual physical contact on somebody. Assault does not need any physical contact. What assault actually is, the definition is that you are in immediate fear of harmful or offensive contact. Now, keyword is fear. You don't actually have to be striked. Damon wasn't actually struck here, so we're not going for battery, we're going for assault.
So now I'm gonna explain how assault applies to each defendant in the case. So let's start with Green Shirt, who walked in front of Damon's Lamborghini, walked towards Damon. Damon was still in the car, had the window down, and Green Shirt was within striking distance, yelling profanities, very disrespectful and threatening words. It made Damon reasonably apprehend of harmful or offensive contact. He didn't know what was coming next because he was being so aggressive. And then we had Beanie, who later got in Damon's face, got very much within striking distance, yelling profanities, yelling very disrespectful and threatening words, which again would make any reasonable person reasonably apprehend of harmful or offensive contact. So that's kind of how assault is playing into this case right now.
And then here's where it got really bad. It changed everything. They took a work tool as a weapon and smashed the Lamborghini. And at that moment, everything changed. That's when the fear kicks in. You can see it in Damon's eyes. He actually gets quiet for a second, which he doesn't normally do. Then all of a sudden, Green Shirt's just behind him. So Damon sees that you have Beanie, Green Shirt, Sledgehammer, all surrounding him, using tools as weapons. Now, if they hit him with a sledgehammer, what would happen?
He could potentially be killed.
Yeah, so in that moment, it went from being like an argument to like life, death. Damon has a family and kids at home. And who knows what they'll do? They did this to the car, didn't care, like a joke. They sat down, everyone's calm, they're lying together right away, already organized. So Damon's processing this right away. You can see, he's like, okay, this just changed. I'm now scared for my life. There's all these tools everywhere and people surrounding Damon. But if you've never been in a situation before, you don't understand the feeling in your heart and your chest, the anxiety. I can feel it right now thinking about it, like the fear. It's like that fight or flight mode where you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen next, but it's not good. So all those things are happening at the same point. He has to compose himself to go, well, I don't know what's gonna happen next. Do I just leave the car? Are they gonna trash the car more? Are they gonna find out where we live and come to our shop? Like we have to make sure that we're protected, not only our stuff, but also physically. Because the second you take a tool like that and start smashing the car, he'd easily hit Damon with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the way Damon reacted was perfect. Obviously, any reasonable person would be silent because you have to kind of process everything that's happening. There's a lot going on. You had everyone getting in Damon's face, and then behind his back, you have a guy using a sledgehammer to damage the Lamborghini. Damon kind of processes it all and says, you know what? I need to get away from this because I feel cornered. And so if you watch carefully, you can see Damon kind of use the Lamborghini as a barrier from everybody to make sure that the situation doesn't escalate further. So then he calls the police, which is exactly what you're supposed to do, and he handled it like a champion.
What freaks me out, to be honest with you guys right now, is if Damon hadn't called the police, what would happen next? Would they let him leave? Would they hit him next? Like, we don't, there's so many things we don't know. That's why it's important that we follow the right way of doing this, which isn't retaliating or fighting back. It's getting the lawyers, calling the police, and doing it the right way, which is what we're doing right now.
And you guys, it's so different from watching this at home. When you're actually there in person, if somebody is in your face, yelling profanities at you in striking distance, it's so scary to be in that position. Don't think you're at home saying, oh, you know, I would have kicked all their ass. It is so difficult to be in this situation, and it's scary that people are surrounding you. Somebody can strike you from behind.
Especially when they have weapons. Like, once they have weapons, like, I don't care how tough you are.
Something like a sledgehammer, and you don't have any sort of weapon to defend for yourself because Damon didn't have anything on him. There's nothing in the Lamborghini he can go grab to make sure that he's protecting himself.
No.
The only line of defense Damon has was the video camera, which was perfect because I think that did kind of make sure the situation didn't escalate any further. Because who knows, they could have been a serious physical altercation and some serious injuries could have happened.
The next cause of action is negligent hiring, supervision, and retention. And so that is obviously being asserted against Green Shirt's company because, like we mentioned earlier, the company is the one that hired Sledgehammer. And so typically you're supposed to run a background check, criminal records, for example.
Criminal history, any previous charges that a potential employee may have had.
So that comes into the negligent hiring aspect. And so when it comes to supervision, like in our case, in the video you can see Green Shirt telling Sledgehammer, hey, you should take that car and drive off with it. That is not the way you supervise an employee.
Didn't do a very good job supervising his employees.
Retention is the fact that he is still employed by this company after such an act.
Oh, wow.
And so that's where it comes into play that you're negligently retaining this employee after what occurred. All right, and last cause of action we are seeking is negligence, and right after that we'll tell you what kind of compensation we are seeking for this case. So negligence is the duty to abide by a reasonable person standard, how a reasonable person would act in a similar circumstance. Here, it's not hard to tell how everybody in this case did not act reasonable. The only person here who acted reasonable and abided by a reasonable person standard is Damon.
That was the first for everything.
So yeah, there's not too much to explain here. Every person has a duty to abide by a reasonable person standard and conduct yourself in a reasonable way. You're yelling profanities at people, getting in people's face, all that type of conduct.
Assault.
Not the way a reasonable person would act.
Yeah, don't be stupid.
And finally, we're gonna tell you how much money we're going after these people for and why. So we will start with monetary damages.
Yeah, so one of the actions we're seeking are cost of repairs. Dave, how much do you think it costs to fix this car?
I know because I have the invoices. The windshield was $5,000 and it's all was $668.
Okay, so approximately $6,000 to repair the windshield of the
Correct.
Lamborghini. And was there any downtime while that car was being serviced?
So they said it's 24 hours initially for them to install it and glue it, and then 7 days for it to set. So you can't drive a car for 7 days. So you lost 7 days from start to finish.
So around about a week. And how much does it approximately cost to rent $1 million Lamborghini?
So there's only 2 companies in the US that rents them, and the average price is $5,000 a day. Unfortunately, not in California or Miami. They're shipping it as well. So $5,000 a day times 7, $35,000, $5,000 for shipping.
So there's loss of use right there because you're entitled to the reasonable value of the car for the amount of time it takes to repair it. So if we're looking at 7 days, $5,000 a day, we're looking at around $35,000. Another one we're gonna be seeking is for loss of profits. Now, did we have any money that we lost that day, such as sponsorships or anything like that?
Yeah, we lost a sponsorship, $25,000. They pushed it to the month after and then canceled it because of the new year. So we lost the brand deal and the video that day.
Well, there we go. So another $25,000 tacked onto the case. And then what we're also gonna be seeking are punitive damages. These are damages specifically assigned by the court to deter and punish the defendants from committing acts like this again. So we don't get to decide how much we get for those, but we put that in the action to make sure the court knows, hey, there's intentional and reckless actions here, and we believe that these guys need to be punished and make sure that they don't do it again. So we're also seeking punitive damages. We don't have the amount assigned right now, but hopefully we will soon.
And finally, the last one is called general damages. So this is damages for emotional distress and emotional suffering. Now, it is a very arbitrary number. There's no formula to use to calculate this. So it is one that a jury will assign and one we can kind of wrap our hands around that we think is reasonable to compensate Damien for what he had to go through in this entire situation. All right, to wrap this up, guys, we are now entering the discovery phase with this case. Some of the defendants have actually lawyered up already. Discovery means they send us some written questions that we have to answer. We send them some questions they have to answer. They're all answered under oath and signed by each individual defendant. And from there, we will kind of discuss, okay, do we want to settle this case or do they want to take it to trial? And we'll give you guys an update when we get to that point.
Show me the money! Jerry Maguire. All right, that's battery, and that's the end of the video. I should have been a lawyer. These guys look really good. Do you want straight, actually?
Yeah, that's
okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're doing it.
All right, here we go.
Take that. Oh, the newest member of the Soleil Law Group and of DDE right here.
You've been served. Actually, this fits me.
Okay, great, yeah.
You're so uncomfortable. All right, I got some good news for you. Made a deal with the DA. You're only getting a 10-year stretch for this.
It was a parking ticket!
It's my first day!